In this video, we are recapping the Memorial Day severe weather outlook. After that, the tropics are heating up as we have lots of activity in the Gulf of Mexico to talk about. Also, severe weather continues to be a headline as the Storm Prediction Center has issued an enhanced risk for today and a slight risk for Wednesday and Thursday. All that and more coming right up. Welcome back, y'all. Ryan Hall here with the weather forecast. Last night, we were live as we tracked a strong low pressure system moving across the Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas, and Minnesota. The moderate risk of storms verified and brought high winds, large hail, and even 5 tornado reports, including a confirmed damaging tornado in Ferreta, Minnesota. Our chasers got all kinds of interesting shots out in the field, especially Vince Welty and Brandon Kopic and their brand new Storm Seekers. This storm is going to continue to move across the U.S. today and tomorrow and the next day, so that's why we have to stop looking at the past and look forward as we continue to break all this down. All right, let's start off down here in the tropics. We had Hurricane Agatha make landfall in Mexico yesterday, and now it is Tropical Depression Agatha with winds of 35 miles an hour, and we got maximum gusts of 60 miles per hour, and it is moving off to the north and east. You can see its path that it took right here. It very quickly became a Category 2 hurricane, almost became a major Category 3 hurricane before making landfall as a Category 2 with 105 mile per hour winds. This was Mexico's strongest hurricane landfall ever before June 15th, like on record. And as far as I can tell, in every database that I looked at, this is probably the earliest ever Category 2 landfall in the eastern or western Pacific. So certainly a very anomalous storm here as it tracks across Mexico, and it's going to make it into the Bay of Campeche here, and it's going to ride over into the Yucatan Peninsula, and the National Hurricane Center is actually issuing an outlook for the Gulf of Mexico here, meaning that this could actually reform as it goes up towards Florida. Right now, we've got a 2-day tropical development chance of 10% and a 5-day chance of 60%, an overall medium chance. Near the Yucatan Peninsula and southeastern Gulf of Mexico, a large and complex area of low pressure is expected to develop. Despite strong upper-level winds over the area, this system could still become a tropical depression while it moves northeastward over the northwestern Caribbean Sea and southern half of the Gulf of Mexico late this week. So let's actually take a look at the models here. This is the Euro model. We're going to look at what the upper level or the lower level jet winds are going to look like as we go into the future. This will show us if there's going to be any sort of cyclonic development. And according to the Euro, as that system traverses over the Yucatan Peninsula and into the southeastern portion of the Gulf of Mexico here, there is a decent chance of redevelopment. This is starting on Thursday around 5 p.m. You can see that turning. You can see that there is a circulation forming there, and actually it's quite well defined for a tropical depression by the time it makes it to Florida. So if the Euro's right, we could have a tropical depression making landfall in Florida on Saturday. Now, there's really no concern about this thing becoming a major hurricane or even a hurricane, but I believe a worst case scenario would be that a tropical storm came out of this. And look, once it gets south and east of the Carolinas, it continues to intensify, but certainly the hurricane risk is very low with this, okay? We're looking at just a fish storm out here that could bring some high winds to some of the marine traffic. And of course, our fish are going to have a hard time with all the heavy rain and lightning and stuff that'll come with it. But remember, this is just one model. This could certainly change as we go forward, and it'll be interesting to see what the models say as we go into the future. We'll have to keep an eye on this. As of now, it's something to watch, but it's nothing to worry about. All right, moving right along to today's severe weather threat. And buddy, we've got it out there in Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas. We have an enhanced risk of severe weather. This includes Elk City, and then we have a huge slight risk of severe weather from Lubbock all the way up to Jefferson City, between Kansas City and St. Louis. And of course, this includes Peoria, Chicago, all the way up into central Michigan. Looks like a very minimal tornado threat as the SPC has only put out a 2% risk for tornadoes. The tornado threat is not the main thing that we're looking out for today. That would actually be the hail, or the gorilla hail, I should say, especially down here in Texas and Oklahoma. You got a 30% hatched risk for significant, severe, damaging hail. We're talking about hail 2 inches in diameter or bigger. I would not be surprised to see some 3 or 4 inch monsters out there, and this will bust your windshield out if you're on I-40 today between Oklahoma City and Amarillo. So be weather aware, okay? This is going to be a very big storm day. We're not really looking at a lot of tornadic activity, but the storms are going to be freaking intense, man. And we also have an increased risk of severe damaging winds. We got that hatched risk, 30% down here in Oklahoma and Texas, but the 15% goes all the way up through Tulsa, Warrensburg, Columbia, Jefferson City, Springfield, Bloomington, Peoria, Peoria, Chicago, and of course into Grand Rapids and Mount Pleasant in Michigan. Okay, let's see why these risks were issued. Let's take a look at the simulated radar. You can keep up with the date and time above my head, always in Eastern time. This is what the radar could look like as we go into the future, and as you can see, by 1 p.m. today, we've got some storms forming along that boundary south of Kansas City, but none of these are expected to be severe at this time. We're really waiting on a lot of that moisture to start piling up here and kind of get primed up and ready to go for a little bit of movement to occur with this boundary. And when that happens, the forcing is going to be insane, and we're going to see a rapid explosion of storms all up and down this boundary starting around 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern today. We're going to see them popping up over here in northern Illinois, south of Rockford. Also down here in Missouri and southeastern Kansas, we're going to see some stationary big-time thunder boomers. So if you're in a flood-prone area, please be extra super weather aware. And then if we go further south, this is where those big gorilla hailers are going to be popping up. Once again, between 5 and 6 p.m. Eastern, that's 4 and 5 Central. They are absolutely going to be causing some problems down here. And these things also don't move very much, so I've got to think about the flash flooding risk down here as well. And then we're also dealing with those big storms in and around Wichita around 8 p.m. and things are moving just a little bit there into Chicago by 8 or 9 p.m. But look at how stationary the line is overall. It's really not moving that much. We got a crashing cold front here, and this will lead to lots of flash flooding problems, and of course just a really miserable day if you're somebody who ends up underneath one of these storms for an extended period of time. Now, I'm not going to be live streaming today, but I do believe our storm chasers Brandon Kopic and Vince Welty and their storm seekers are going to be chasing. These guys go wherever the worst weather is, okay? So wherever we're expecting it to get really hairy, they're going to be there. And speaking of hairy, we gotta talk about today's sponsor, Manscaped, the best in male grooming. It's that time of year. It's time to show dad some love. With Father's Day fast approaching, now is the best time to give the gift of grooming, and you've got a lot to choose from with the latest and greatest products from Manscaped. Instead of the typical fancy ties, coffee cups, and garage gadgets, get dad something he really wants this year with the Lawnmower 4.0. This new lawnmower is the perfect beard and body hair trimmer for the modern day man. Cordless, waterproof, and outfitted with Manscaped's patented skin-safe technology, it's virtually impossible not to get the perfect shave every time. And of course, I gotta mention, there's even a daggone headlight on this thing. But wait, there's more. Manscaped just launched their brand new Boxers 2.0. And these things really might be the best boxers ever. These boxers utilize premium super soft fabrics that are anti-chafing, cooling, and tagless, making them the most comfortable boxers your dad will ever wear. As always, go on over to manscaped.com and use the discount code HALL at checkout for 20% off and free shipping. Once again, that's free shipping plus 20% off, just for using the discount code HALL at checkout, and of course there's a link in the description. Now, let's get back into the video. All right, moving right along, we are talking about another slight risk of severe weather for tomorrow. It splits up into two sections here. We've got Syracuse, New York, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Columbus, Ohio, under a slight risk of severe weather. And then we've got that marginal risk that goes through Louisville, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, St. Louis, Little Rock, Fort Smith, until it meets back up with another slight risk down here in Oklahoma City down to Lubbock. And remember, this is for tomorrow, and it's for the same storm system, so you can see how stationary and slow moving this thing is, which will lead to a lot of flooding problems. And then on day 3, we have a big marginal risk from Texas all the way up into the mid-Atlantic, where we have a slight risk of severe weather for Washington, Baltimore, Philadelphia, over here in the Delmarva area. So we do expect these thunder boomers to be big and strong all the way out to Thursday over here on the East Coast. Okay, switching over to the NAM model here, let's take a look at what the weather's going to look like. 1 p.m. tomorrow, we don't have much of anything going on, but you can still see our boundary here with some heavy rain up there near Ottawa and Toronto. Once that daylight heating really starts to get going, we're going to see a rapid expansion of storms once again from Oklahoma and Texas all the way up into the Ohio Valley and Northeast. Looks like around 3 to 5 p.m. That's when you're going to see these thunder boomers start popping off here in western New York, western Pennsylvania, all through Ohio here. Small hail and some damaging wind gusts could be possible with these. They get a little bit weaker the closer you get to the Ohio River on the border of Indiana and Kentucky there, but they're still going to pack a punch with the heavy rain. And then, of course, we've got some south of St. Louis, and we've got some more big ones popping up down here in Texas, and these will likely cause some damaging winds and hail, and that's what sparks that secondary slight risk of severe weather for these guys. The difference here is that tomorrow's weather actually moves, so the flooding probabilities are a little bit lower, but still the heavy rain could cause problems as we go forward. But watch how fast everything dies out. Once it gets into Pittsburgh around 8 p.m., this whole line segment just fizzles out by 10 p.m. really before it makes it into Maryland and the Philadelphia area. Same thing kind of happens over here in Texas and Oklahoma. This just turns into a big rainstorm for the Red River region as this moves off to the east into the early morning hours on Thursday. But watch what happens. Another boundary starts racing off to the east. We got some heavy rain at 2 p.m. on Thursday. That is going to spark another area of storms that will come through the mid-Atlantic region by 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 p.m. And that's why we have that slight risk of severe weather over here. So Thursday, I really do think that slight risk will be extended back a little bit further, because I think that we're going to see a line of storms form here that will affect everybody in that region. Straight line damaging winds are by far going to be the biggest threat, but as of right now, that's all we know. This is as far out as my model will take me. Let's take a look at the total precipitation according to the NAM model through Thursday at 2 p.m. There are some areas in Oklahoma here that could see above 10 inches of rain, which is nuts. Lots of 4, 5, 6, 7 inches of rain totals possible over here in Kansas. This is also going to be a big problem down here in Texas. This is why we're so concerned about flash flooding, y'all. Very heavy rain expected into Missouri as well. Some flash flooding could be possible out here. But even if you're only in the 2 to 3 inch areas up through Chicago and portions of Ohio into Pennsylvania, of course New York, this could also lead to flash flooding, guys. It's all about the terrain that you're in and how quickly the rain falls, right? So this stuff's going to fall pretty fast. If you live in a flood prone area, please be weather aware and take those flash flood warnings seriously. Flooding kills more people than tornadoes, more people than any other weather phenomenon. So we always want to take it extra seriously. A super huge shout out to all of our members over here. Thanks to everybody who became a member yesterday. You'll be on that list soon enough. Guys, if a hurricane doesn't form down here in the Gulf, we're going to have a quiet period of weather after this for a little while. So I'm going to start releasing some of the vlogs and content we've been creating around the Y'all Fund and all this other stuff. Some of that will be on this channel, but a lot of it will be on my other channel. So please go subscribe to all of the channels that are linked at the bottom of my main YouTube page. You're not going to regret it. And of course, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and all that good stuff. I'll see you in the next one, okay? Goodbye.